On this episode, we're going to provide a few answers to the question, why is safety in organizations so important? So stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. You can find the show notes to each episode, links to information mentioned on the podcast, the social media platforms we're on, and anything else related to the podcast at warehousesafetytips.com. If you're a seasoned podcast listener, this podcast is going to be different from most you listen to. It's based exactly around what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in that industry are busy, we know that time is money and each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now that all that is out of the way, let's get to the podcast. Have you ever received a ticket from law enforcement for going slightly over the speed limit or just missing a yellow light and running a red? Both of these instances have strong similarities with working within a factory, warehouse, and or anywhere with safety markings that you're supposed to be paying attention to. When it comes to signs, they give you guidance for how to conduct yourself within an area. And when it comes to colors like that of a traffic light or sign, we've been conditioned since we were children to recognize them. Green means it's okay to proceed. Yellow means that you should be exercising caution and or slowing down. And of course, red means that you shouldn't be doing something and or stopping. Now, when you get these warnings and or tickets from law enforcement, it's very easy to complain after they leave. You might be mad that they've taken away time that you needed to get somewhere, that it's going to cost you money, or that they may have better things to do, or maybe even a combination of all three. The part that you might not realize at the time and or after the fact is that they're doing this for your safety and the safety of others. And when you think of it that way, it should change your entire outlook. And even if you care not to admit it, you wouldn't want people speeding and running red lights around you or your loved ones. So why would you hold different standards for yourself? Before continuing on with our podcast, here's a word from one of our sponsors. If you've ever been to or worked in a warehouse, you know just how important safety is to both management and staff. It's almost impossible to go 10 steps without seeing safety tape, angles, signs, and or products. It's these items that show us how to be safe and avoid danger in the workplace. And if you're looking for the best products to make this happen, look no further than Mighty Line. Mighty Line floor signs and floor markings offer the best industrial products out there. Go to mightylinetape.com/safety tips to request a sample pack of their incredible safety signs and floor markings. What makes Mighty Line the superior choice in keeping your facility safe and productive? Mighty Line tape is the strongest floor tape on the market and has a beveled edge that increases durability for industrial brush scrubbers, forklifts, and heavy industrial wheel traffic. Mighty Line's peel and stick backing allows easy installation and removal. You can apply and reapply it during installation and it leaves no sticky residue should you need to remove it. This allows the ability to change workflow areas quickly and easily and not have the downtime that's associated with painting or using floor markings that leave behind a mess when you remove them. Mighty Line tape is 7 times thicker than the average safety floor tape. Mighty Line signs and markings come in a variety of shapes, colors, and sizes, and if we don't have what you're looking for in stock, there's a good chance we can customize it and allow you to find exactly what you're looking for. Mighty Line offers a limited 3-year warranty on their floor signs and markings. And last but certainly not least, Mighty Line's products are patented and proudly made in the USA. We're proud to have Mighty Line as the official floor sign and floor marking company for the Warehouse Safety Tips podcast and site. Again, go to mightylinetape.com/safety tips to request a sample pack of their incredible safety signs and floor markings. Now, back to the podcast. In the first half of this podcast, we covered ways safety and organization are conducted outside of your facility. Now let's take a look at the correlations of how they work within your facility. Years ago, I worked as a plainclothes security officer. I would be placed in a facility with a job that took me all over the place, such as a janitor or a forklift driver. My primary job was to investigate issues that had occurred and also keep my eye on current situations and individuals. While doing that job at an aluminum foundry, a tote motor driver made several horrible decisions. He was driving his tote motor way too fast, he was carrying his load way too high, and he took what he thought would be a shortcut. This took him over designated safety tape and into a walkway, and if that wasn't enough, he was high at the time. Now what resulted was him seeing someone come out of a door, slamming on the brakes, spilling his load of molten aluminum, and killing the person in front of him immediately. It could have been a lot different though. A fellow coworker or management could have seen just one of these mistakes and called him on it. He might have reacted the same way that the person that was warned or ticketed for running a red light or speeding mentioned at the first part of this podcast. And I'm sure that a night off with pay, a suspension, action plan, and or being fired might have made him say, I just made a mistake. Why do they have to make a federal case out of it? But in the case of a traffic light, speeding, or the tow motor stories, we know that things can end much different than just something that requires a slap on the hand. So why is paying attention to safety and organization of the utmost importance? People, product, and or property can be hurt and damaged. Production time can be delayed and or stopped altogether. And in the worst case, lives can be lost. Hopefully, this podcast will cause you to look at the safety markings in and out of your facility much closer and know that when it comes to safety and organization, there's a much bigger picture at work than you might realize. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Warehouse Safety Tips. If you visit warehousesafetytips.com, you'll find the show notes for this episode and access to all of our blog posts, previous podcasts, advertiser information, and much more. Thank you for listening to Warehouse Safety Tips and have a safe day.